Alright, what's up? If you're watching this, thank you. Thank you for watching my videos. Thank you for subscribing if you've done that. Thank you for liking if you've done that. Today I want to talk about my experience with a rotator cuff tear in my left shoulder. Before I get into anything at all, I just want to start by saying, A, I'm not a doctor. B, I'm not a coach. I'm not a personal trainer. I'm not a physical therapist. I'm none of the above. But my experience with my injury, I feel like has given me some insight that I think would be helpful to anyone who's having some shoulder issues, has a shoulder injury, or has a torn rotator cuff like I did. So please, the next thing I'll say to go along with that preface is, if you have any issues at all, if you feel like you have a shoulder injury, the first thing that you need to go do is go see a doctor, get it diagnosed, and figure out exactly what your issue is. Because that's exactly what I did, 100%. I had an issue, went and saw a doctor, had things looked at, had pictures taken, I figured out what my issue was. I'm just sharing with you my experience, so maybe you can take the right steps into recovery and coming back from your injury. So to start off, I tore my rotator cuff, my infraspinatus and supraspinatus, I guess two of the four, in my left shoulder back in April of last year. I was doing a bench-only meet. It also should be noted that during the meet, I did 4 bench attempts. I did my first 3, and then I went for a state record, which was misloaded. So my record that's in the books wasn't even really a record, but it's in the books as one. It might have been broken by now, I don't know. Regardless, that's when I tore it. It should also be noted that when I tore it, I felt absolutely no pain whatsoever. I got all 4 attempts. They all went smoothly. I mean, some were better than others, but I made all 4 attempts. I had no issues. I had no pain. And then when I realized that something was wrong, I think it was 3 days later when I went into the gym to do a bench workout. When I realized, hey, something's wrong with my shoulder, I had no pain again. So my situation may be unique or rare, but I want to share what I went through. So when I realized that I had a torn something, I didn't know what it was. I was warming up to do my bench workout, and I had planned on going fairly light and really just getting some blood in there and just, you know, trying to just continue doing the movement, because I still wanted to make progress. And, you know, sometimes one of the best things to do after a meet is to go in and do some work and work those muscles and get some blood in there and do some work. So I was going in and I started warming up. I always warm up with the bar. I went to 135, and as soon as I got to 135, I knew something was weird, because I went down, touched my chest, came back up, and once I got about past halfway, my left side just lagged, severely lagged behind my right, and didn't want to finish the lift. So I thought, well, that's weird. So I racked it, did another warm-up set with 135, and it actually felt a little bit better. So I thought, it's just kind of funky, whatever. Went to 225, and same thing, except a little bit worse. Come up, left side, right side finishes the lift, left side is way behind. So like, all right, this is really weird. So take 225 again, feels okay, still not right, but better. Stupidly, I took 315, and it darn near decapitated me. Came down, came back up, and the struggle of my life with 315. I get it locked out, I go to rack it, miss the hook on the right, it falls, the weights fly off, it nearly hits my neck. The only thing that saved it was there's 2 hooks on the bench I was using. Luckily, the bar caught on the second hook and it didn't hurt me. So, but I know that wasn't when I tore it, because again, no pain, and I felt severe weakness in my left side that entire workout, really. And I pretty much shut it down after that anyways. And then really, for a couple weeks after that, the weakness and atrophy in my pec, my tricep and my shoulder area just in general got worse and worse. And it got to the point where I probably had 60 to 65% strength loss in the left side. So I went from being a 430 to 445 pound bencher to maybe 275. Just my whole left side was just jacked. So I didn't know what it was, and I remember driving down the road one day, and I was just, kind of feeling just like maybe I tore my pec. Maybe I have a torn pec. So I'm feeling, and I don't feel any holes or any places where I felt like I might have torn something, and while I'm doing that, I'm trying to flex my pec, and it's like, wow, I can't even really get a full contraction of the muscle. I couldn't contract my pec. I couldn't fully contract my tricep. So I thought, okay, maybe I've got a pinched nerve. So let's go see the chiro. He can work on me, and he readjusts some ribs and some stuff in my back, and he thinks maybe that's what your issue is. Doesn't change anything. Strength loss is getting worse and worse. Atrophy is getting worse. I'm like, all right, I need to just go get this taken care of. So, and long story short, I get a cervical MRI because I had some neck issues, and they're thinking, okay, maybe you have a pinched nerve in your neck. I have a bulging disc in my neck, but it's only a few millimeters, so it's really nothing significant. So that they pretty much ruled that out. That's not causing your problem. It's not a nerve. I had an arthrogram on my shoulder, which is basically an MRI, except they inject your joint. They took a huge needle. It's one of the most uncomfortable things I've ever experienced. Stick it all the way into the joint and fill it full of fluid. And so you have this intense pressure in your shoulder, but that fluid contrasts the soft tissues so you can see what's damaged. So long story short, they say, yeah, you have a torn infraspinatus and supraspinatus 1.5 centimeters at the tendon junction. Whatever that means. 1.5 centimeters seems like quite a bit on, really small muscles. So, which the rotator cuff, they're muscles that allow internal and external rotation and all that gunk. Anyways, so I go to my doctor who's a shoulder and knee guy. He runs me through all kinds of strength tests, external rotation, internal rotation, a lateral raise, all kinds of different movements, strength, and just pain. And again, no pain. I have, as much strength over here and stability as I had over here as far as the internal and external rotations and all that. But I was still significantly down in strength in just my ability to move weight. So he tells me, you know what, you're fine. Yeah, the arthrogram says you have a torn rotator cuff, but you're fine. Just keep doing what you're doing, and you're going to be okay. So that was the advice that I took from a professional, a person who does shoulder surgeries and knee surgeries all day long, knows what they're talking about, and I followed his advice of, hey, you don't need to get surgery. So that was probably the biggest reason why I decided not to get my shoulder repaired. The second reason why I decided not to get it repaired was, I'm 32, I'm going to be 33 here in April, and I feel like I'm kind of in the prime of my life in a lot of ways, with, my hobbies, my kids, just my life in general. And I don't have any, I don't have pain at all in any of my day-to-day activities. Putting on my shirt, lifting my hands over my head, picking, my head, picking things up, moving around. I can do all of those things and I don't have pain. I can do anything in the gym I want to, no pain. There is one exercise I can't do. It does cause a little bit of discomfort, and that's incline barbell. So I don't do that at all. I stay away from it. I'll get to advice for dealing with shoulder pain in a minute, but I just kind of want to share with you my unique situation. So, with that said, I just kept doing what I was doing. So once I got the green light from the doctor, hey, keep doing what you're doing, basically I did anything that I wanted to in the gym that didn't cause pain. And what I mean by it didn't cause pain is, A, when I'm doing the movement, it doesn't cause pain. B, the next day when I get out of bed and I'm going through my day, my shoulder didn't feel like it had been absolutely smashed. I didn't have pain the next day. I didn't have pain during the movement, and I didn't have pain the next day. If I ever experienced pain or discomfort during an exercise, I stopped doing it immediately. If I ever woke up the next day and felt like, man, I really annoyed my shoulder, I made sure that A, I took it easy the next workout, and B, I completely avoided any movement that may have caused that pain or discomfort or inflammation. So my first bit of advice, if you have a shoulder injury, you've had it diagnosed, and you've been given instructions, A, follow those instructions. The doctor knows best, do what they say. B, avoid anything and everything that causes pain, no matter what it is. In the gym, if it hurts, causes pain or inflammation, you don't do it. Avoid it altogether. Find another movement to do. Just avoid anything that causes pain. So with that said, I continued to bench press because I could do it without pain. But initially, as I was going through the recovery and I got the green light from the doctor to do whatever I wanted to do, when I would bench, my left shoulder was, severely unstable compared to my right. My strength was still severely lacking, although it was slowly, when I say slowly, I mean slowly, it was slowly but surely coming back. So literally, I started doing work with like 155 pounds on the bench press, and I would do several sets of 10 just to try to build the mass back up in my pec and my tricep and shoulder area because it had atrophied and weakened so much. And each week I added 10 to 15 pounds, and within 5 months of tearing it, getting it diagnosed and figuring out what was wrong with it, within 5 months I was back up to 400 pounds on the bench. So by September, I hit 397 in here in the garage, just touch and go. So it took me some time, but I was able to do what I wanted to do, but I just needed to be very patient. So that's another little bit of advice that I would give you is, if the doctor gives you the green light to do things, take it slow and easy. If you feel like you're going slow enough, you're taking it easy enough, step back even further. Go a little bit slower, take it a little bit easier, because oftentimes we can't think objectively on our own and we push too hard. We do too much. So definitely take the doctor's advice and do things very slowly, slower than you think, and take it easier than you think, and you're going to be successful. So I'm going to have to make this a 2-part video because I'm already at 13 minutes here and I can only go 15 minutes. So I'm going to upload this, and then shortly after I'll upload part 2 of my torn rotator cuff experience. Thanks.